But we are live. What's happening, everybody out there? Beer drinkers, beer lovers, unite. It is Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. This is the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast for Wednesday, July the 2nd, 2014. Episode number 83. All right? 17 away from one hundo. So raise a glass for that. We're getting closer, and I'll say it every week. But it's another hostful episode. No guests this week, probably because it's hot as hell out. But I don't know why. All the brewers are staying inside and in their own cooler. But I'm just sitting here drinking a hell yes because it's my last one, and it's a goddamn good beer. And Carla, what's happening?
Sweet. Hi, everybody. Carla here, known online as Beer Babe. I am staying inside. I got an air conditioner installed yesterday, so I'm all excited. And I am drinking a Peak Summer Session, one of my go-tos for this summer.
Nice. Myko, what's up?
Mike Meredith here, Admiral Meredith on Twitter. I have some Notch pills cooling down in the fridge, but at this time I'm just enjoying some nice Brita water because it is hot as balls right now in my office.
Speaking of balls, Shano.
Heyo. This is Sean Jansen from twobeerguys.com. I'm currently drinking a Atlantic Summer Ale from Bar Harbor.
Most excellent. Nice. So let's get into it real quick. Let's talk about. I mean, Carla's had an awesome evening. Sean had an awesome weekend, and Mike and I just had a pretty crazy day. So let me kick off by saying big thank you to NHPR for having Mike and I in the studios today. I did fill it with beer, so don't kid yourself. They had us in the studio today to talk about the book. So it was our first time being doing an interview where we're on the other side of the situation. So it's pretty cool. Met with the folks over there and talked about NH Beer Book, and it was a fun time having actual microphones and headphones and these buttons everywhere and theme music and all that stuff. But it was neat. And then what else happened? Oh yeah, this happened. Podcast. But Mike, why don't you talk about a little bit about that this past weekend?
This past weekend, Brian and I made our way up north, and that's in northern New Hampshire in the mountain regions. We went to Lincoln, Woodstock, and Littleton to enjoy the NE Brew Fest. So we had a table there promoting New Hampshire beer, and we found ourselves in the midst of a lot of great breweries and a lot of great people. We want to thank everybody for making it a great weekend for us. So.
Yes. Let's go to Sean because it's a good segue. Sean, what'd you get up to this weekend?
In addition to being at the New England Brew Fest, I also went and visited that gem of a brewery up in Littleton, New Hampshire called Schilling. I would like to make a note that Schilling had one of the longest lines at the New England Brew Fest on Saturday.
Yes, nice.
In addition, I believe it was last Thursday, because it feels like it was eons ago, I went to a special book release party put on by the two of you guys. So
that was a good time.
Great time over at the Sheridan Hotel in Portsmouth with a bunch of beer samples and a little bit of speeches by the crew.
Oh yeah, it was a good time. Tons of. I think it was 85 was the final head count, which was freaking crazy for.
Wow, sweet, that's awesome.
Yeah, for a book event, you don't know what's going on, but we had when my mom's involved in those books, she'll bring friends that like books too, so it's pretty cool.
It was a race to the finish, that's for sure. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Big thanks to everyone that came up. Shano was there, spreading the good love. Had some good beers. Good giveaways too, which none of us won, which is stupid. Ryan
did win.
Beer buddy Ryan won a gift card to Craft Beer Cellar, so it was rigged. Everybody.
It was.
And it's always fun to see Mrs. Momo or Mother Momo.
Oh boy.
Yep. Yeah, my mom was there, Sean. We'll just leave it at
that. Yeah, we had a very good Western Mass following as well as a good New Hampshire following. So again, thank you. Our book is now sent off, and you only hear us talk about it once a week, about every minute of the podcast. Carla, you did something wicked awesome last night, but did you have anything before that, like during the weekend?
I also went to Noshbo, which was the event that Nosh and Oxbow collaborate on. That was on this past Sunday. And they take over part of the block next to a restaurant in Portland called Nosh. And last year it was kind of like they just cordoned off and had a little bit of food outside, some music, and a couple people skateboarding and trying to jump over kegs on their skateboards. This
Nice.
year, it was like the whole street and a parking lot on the side. They had like a legit half-pipe ramp and a stage and music. It was pretty cool. I didn't go for the entire day. I kind of got tired out, but it was well done. It was fun, and it was also just a nice place to hang outside on a gorgeous, gorgeous day. But what you were referring to earlier, what I did last night, was I got to go to Infinity for the last stop on the Movable Feast series of beer dinners that Sam Calagione from Dogfish Head put on. So as you know,
Nice.
I'm kind of a big Dogfish Head fan, and he took to the waves to both raise some money for the Nature Conservancy and also to bring some attention to the fact that the new Dogfish Head Inn has opened down in Lewes, Delaware. That's part of their whole, shtick. You come, be a beer tourist in this kind of beer-themed hotel, very cool stuff. But they ended up raising quite a bit of money for the Nature Conservancy. Basically, they went on 5 stops, did these dinners, and then would also go to a conservancy site and walk around and do a little talk there. So it ended up being a really neat dinner. I think it's probably the first anything like that Infinity's hosted, but Eric, the owner, just did an awesome job of managing stuff. Anything that happened small, like I think they couldn't get a microphone to work or whatever, nobody really noticed. It was awesome. People were milling around talking, and the food and the beer was delicious. So I hope that Dogfish does more events like that, and I also hope that Infinity hosts more. While we were there, they were brewing Collaboration Brew, which should be ready in about a month. So if you guys come up here in about a month, you can actually taste it.
Any idea what it was?
Yeah, so I forget what the actual style was. I have it in my notes, but they ended up adding oysters to it and maple syrup from both Massachusetts and Maine. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
So they were taking suggestions at the end of the night as far as to what they should name it, and I put in, because it had both maple syrup and oysters in it, that it should be called Saphrodisiac. Like Saphrodisiac? No.
Oh.
I don't know.
You must have had a couple drinks by that point.
I had.
You should name it something. So big, and I don't want to interrupt, but I was looking up what episode Sam Calagione was on our show, and it was episode 39. Very coincidentally, it was on July 1st of last year.
Oh, sweet.
So a year ago to the date, Carla was with him again. Come on now, this is crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, and him and Mariah was there too, his wife. So we go way back on Twitter from old school times, both when there was only a couple people on there. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, so pretty. Well, so next year he'll come on the show, and then the year after we'll go back to Infinity.
The year after we should all just go to a road trip and go to the motel.
Done. Let us go. So let's hop into it. Norm is having Norm problems, aka computer problems. So he'll come when he wants. But I do want to mention, if I'll post a link if it's up between now and when I post it live, or even before next show. Mike and I were at the NPR thing, and they were doing they're like, we have a clip of the podcast, and we're like, now we're getting official. If other radio shows start to clip our show, but
were you scared, Brian?
I was nervous because I was like,
yeah.
What? Because Mike's first question is, you can't say fuck on NPR. He's like, so what did you clip? But no, so it was a clip of what they said. Norman Miller, who's known as the Real Beer Nut, was a guest on your show, and I'm like, no, he's a host. He just comes in whenever he wants. But Normie is Normie's all over the place, and someone came up to Mike and I and says, oh, I have Norman Miller's book. So Norm, you keep getting in our way, so sell your own book somewhere else. Get away.
That was the selling point for our book, actually.
That was true. So you see,
in Norm's name in the back of our book, and he was like, "Well, I gotta get it now," and I was like, "Damn you, Norm."
Yeah, whatever. But all right, yeah, let's get into it.
The funny thing is that you guys should have taken count of how many people came up to your booth and asked to pour in the sample.
Oh my God, and yeah, that's probably the last time we'll do a
100?
beer fest. Of that, yeah, easily 100. I mean, we'll do Beer Fest again, but not with 3,000 people who think that you're pouring something.
We heard everything from, why don't you guys have beer? Are you guys a couple? To do you have stickers? Over and over again. And then I was ready to punch a bitch at the end of the night.
And then
you are the Batman to his Robin.
Towards the end of the show, that's very true.
Vice versa.
Yeah, nice one. Good show theme callback. But no, my favorite one was, we would say, oh no, we don't have beer. Oh, so when are you guys brewing? No, we wrote a book. okay, so when, are you going to bring your beer next year? It's like, are we getting inside your head right now? But
we should have just lied. We
Yeah,
should
no,
have just
I
been
know.
like, we are the next up-and-coming brewery. We're called NH Beer Book. And they would fucking believe it
Oh, my
because
God.
you could say something ridiculous in this
And Google
industry
it when
like
you
that.
get home. And
But for those, yeah, I mean, but for those that had bags and could afford to buy a book at a beer fest, perfect. But we probably won't do one that big again. But we really appreciate the opportunity to sell
Right.
that thing. And there was a great keynote by Peter Eggleston.
Killed it.
Then there was a panel with that was run by Kelly Brown, with John Lanzini, Kirsten, Neve,
Steve.
and the guy from Canterbury Ale Works.
Elman.
Yeah. So
Right.
bam, it was good. That was a good part. So a bunch of beer nerds, including us, were just there, just drinking it all in, non-literally. Let's get into it because Norm will be here, but we got some news articles to start, and I want to start with one that I believe Mike sent in from the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast. Mike sent us an article, and it's called "The Portlanders to Launch Rocket Full of Beer." Go Momo! What the hell's going on here?
All right, so I didn't believe this until I read it because I thought it was one of those Onion articles, and then I clicked it, and then sure as shit, it's an actual article about rocket enthusiasts that live in the Portland, Oregon area that are looking to launch 2 kegs into our atmosphere.
Get in there.
Yeah, and they've done it before. They've done it multiple times. They did it back in, I believe it was 2010 or 2012. They launched it twice, and it went 6,200 feet in the air, and then the second one was 7,700 feet in the air. And this time, it's really worth a watch. It's basically there's 2 stages. The first stage will hold a 5-gallon keg, and the second stage will contain a 15-gallon keg. And they hope to get it. They expect the rocket to go 20,000 feet in the air at over 650 miles an hour. And then they're gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and then it comes back down safely with a parachute.
do they like drink it afterwards? That's crazy.
Yeah,
No,
they tap it.
And
So
then they tap it, so it's like drinking like it's like something Brewdogs would do.
space beer, that's what they've been calling it. So basically,
Oh, that's fun.
what they're planning to do. The first thing that went in my head when I read this article was, does it have a parachute? Because I doubt that they would have the license to fire a 700-pound rocket into the air without any sort of contingency plan, because that thing's coming down and that is a bomb.
All I'm thinking is like Armageddon meets Beer Fest, where all of a sudden you have this keg and Sean and I are driving the ship to land on the keg. Just to say that, but I draw the short straw and I have to stay on the keg, and Sean leaves without me. That's what
Spoiler
I think.
alert: Bruce Willis stays on the asteroid.
I bet they chose something on nitrogen rather than CO2.
Interesting question.
Ooh, good.
To ask a question like that.
Yeah, but
Wouldn't it be ridiculously cold? Yeah.
But they raised over $2,000 to do it, so there's an awesome video about it. So,
And
Now,
they're
the
called
interesting thing-
in Portland, Burnside Brewery. That's what the kegs are going to be filled with. So,
Awesome. That's good beer too, so don't fucking waste it.
but I said, imagine that thing exploding on the launch pad and it just being like, oh.
Now, Mike, when you selected this article, I was looking around, and there was actually another thing about launching into space, but it was some news around Ninkasi, where they're working with someone to launch yeast into space
Ooh.
on a trip that comes back like 13 years later to see if the yeast will actually stay still viable at that point.
Okay,
So-
yeah, that's the beginning plot of like every scary alien movie ever.
Yes.
Is like, oh, something got exposed to a microorganism and it evolved and it killed everyone. Yay! Like
28 years later. It's
Just kind of funny that two rocket things are happening in the same realm at the same time.
I am going to call bullshit, though, on this article because these guys used a Kickstarter campaign to raise $2,000. Like, I mean, like, if you, like,
Was it for
Really?
it must have been to buy the beer.
yeah, like, honestly, like, if you, then they kept on saying that they're rocket enthusiasts and that they do this all the time. I'm like, if you're going to have a hobby that requires really expensive materials, like, learn to do it on
Jet
your
fuel.
own steam, man.
Yeah. I'm raising a Kickstarter because I really think I can launch beer into space. Well, what, is that your? Did you wake up as a kid and say that's my dream? Come on now, guys.
Right.
But hey, I'll take a sip from that to make sure it doesn't taste skunky. Oh, it got too close to the sun, so it's skunky.
Yeah.
My favorite, though, is
How do you get skunky?
My favorite pledge that they had was $1,000 or more. You get to push the button to launch the rocket.
It's just like a huge two-man throw switch.
So if you want to fund half of it, you get to basically just push a button and you get a T-shirt and a DVD of it launching. It's like, are you serious? Like, I think we may have hit rock bottom on the Kickstarter campaigns with this one.
Yeah, this is out of space right here. This is crazy. But kind of staying along the same lines, Carla had an article, and I'll kick it off by saying there's really not much craft beer on planes that I noticed, because I think I've seen Sam Adams a couple times, but Carla put an article where it looks like United Airlines is going to be starting to serve Goose Island on planes.
Yeah, so I do a fair bit of traveling for my non-beer related work, and although I'm not a huge person who has to like go on a plane and have a drink, I always look at what they have for beer, and I'm always like, nah. Like, if I'm gonna pay $7, I'm not paying $7 for like a Bud Light. Sorry. So, but what's interesting is that Goose Island was recently purchased by Anheuser-Busch InBev, AB InBev, and what's funny is that this is putting better beer on planes for sure, but it must have been an easy thing to do if they already had AB beer up there. And I wonder, what I wanted to throw out there is that yes, the announcement is that they're going to be putting that Urban Wheat Ale on United Airlines. Do you think there's going to be other breweries that are non-AB owned that are going to try to hook up with other airlines? Like, are we going to see Sierra Nevada, being on all Southwest flights? Or,
Yeah.
Is that a new relationship that could be coming? And I would be happy if it is. But
I think Brooklyn Brewing is on JetBlue, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, because their hub is JFK, so that makes sense. Yep.
So maybe you're right. Maybe there is sort of an evolution.
For me, I would much rather have a 312 than some of the other crappy beers. So just that's on the lack of choice has been frustrating.
We have a nice
frozen on my last flight. That was a waste of money.
We have a frozen Tecate that no one drank when I hot.
But next to the Chex Mix.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to having some good beer on the plane. Even though it's only a short 2.5-hour flight to Chicago, it'd be cool to land after having drank a Chicago beer. So, yeah. But whatever, that'd be cool.
And I do fly United quite a bit out of Portland, so that's pretty cool too.
I mean, and the guy that wrote it has a killer bow tie. Who wrote the article? So if whoever wants to read the article,
prerequisite. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, if you want people to look at you and pay attention, bow tie or flannel. So
what's funny though, Carla? There was a brewery last week that announced that they made a deal with the Marriott group that operates the restaurants and airports, and they were making a brewery in California was making a specific beer for all of their associated airports.
So just a beer, like they brew a special beer for the airports.
Yep,
that's pretty cool. That alone. So you can have good beer bars, but that'd be cool. Like have destination airports, airports are by definition a destination, but
that's a unique check-in along with possibility of getting the airport badge.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of quick badges, Money Nose has a Untapped badge. Did you guys see that?
No.
Check in to a bouncy house, and you get a bouncy house badge, which has the head brewer of Portsmouth Brewery on the badge, Matt Gallagher. So.
Oh, cool.
So it's a little bit of a beep, boop, beep. I don't know the details. I think it ends this weekend. I think it's a 4th of July weekend badge, so check it out.
That's fun.
Yeah. Real quick, this is kind of a non-story, but because it's from the Wall Street Journal, but I know Carla likes it because it has an infographic in it. But Norm sent this one in, I believe, right? Yeah, Norm sent this one in about the craft beer takes a bigger swig out of shrinking beer market. It shows a graphic there. Just basically, the only reason why I wanted to bring it up, and I'll put it in the show notes, is it shows a graphic from '91 to today and the increase of American craft beer production rising over the past 2 decades. So it's pretty cool. 15.6 million barrels of craft beer made last year, and it's on the rise.
And I will say the one thing about that article that after I read it and I saw all the cool infographics, I was like, that's neat. Then I reread it. They're getting Census Bureau data, which is totally crap compared to what we know from the Brewers Association and the TTB. So they think the Census Bureau reported that in 2011, or I'm sorry, in 2007. So what they did is they compared the numbers between 2007 and 2012, and they said that they had, I have it right here. Where was it? It was like so wrong. Oh, they think that there are only 869 breweries in 2013. So even if you take out the brew pub, which they said, okay, we didn't count brew pubs, there's still, by the Brewers Association count, should be 1,531.
Holy cow.
So they're off by a magnitude of like 600. So the Census Bureau said it went from, in 2007, 398 breweries to 869 in 2013, which is like, no.
Yeah.
This whole article is based on data that doesn't catch everybody or even close. So I got a little mad because I heard this on the radio this morning, and they were like, oh yeah, it went from 398 to 869 breweries. And I went, what?
This is another classic example of why you leave the beer writing to the beer writers and just
or beer counting to the
beer counters.
Part of the government that counts beer. Like, why does the Census Bureau have any data about beer anyway? But
go ahead.
But the overall message, though, which was cool, is that even though overall, and we've heard this before too, but even though overall the portion of beer drinkers, like the amount of beer being drunk, is shrinking, the percentage of that chunk is increasing in craft, which is really cool. Like I'm totally okay with that. So that means, as a whole, we're drinking a little bit less beer, but more of the beer that we are drinking is craft, which
What's scary
a great take-home message for that. So
so that's a good take-home message, but a scary one, both good scary and bad scary, is the article says there's 1.2 breweries opening every day.
Yes, that's insane.
That's madness. Town USA.
There's been a lot of talk about that because around those 1.2 breweries opening each day, still the majority of high volume producers are 10 years and older, which is kind of interesting. So the largest share of the market is the breweries. Obviously the breweries have been around for more so quite some time rather than some of these new guys, where a lot of the newer 1.2 breweries opening every day are either somehow brew pub related or some sort of nano type size, whether it's not a 1 to 4 barrel system.
Yeah, and that's definitely the case in Maine too. We've seen tons of quantity of brewery. We have a lot of new breweries, but the impact that they're having on the overall volume being brewed is almost negligible.
Jeez.
I mean, we got to take it as a grain of salt, though, because the government's metrics aren't exactly accurate in a lot of fields. We could talk to it in a lot of different realms.
Yeah,
like the unemployment number doesn't really make sense either. The way they calculate it. So.
But the Brewers Association is keeping volume numbers now, or publishing volume numbers now, which they used to not. So I have a little bit more faith in that than like what the Census Bureau put on.
Oh, I have 100% more faith in there. That was more of a dig at the government not knowing how to just do simple things like check them off.
Government beer tickers, right? I mean, have Obama start using Untapped. They'll figure it out.
Stumping, but instead you're kegging. You're standing on kegs. I'm talking about those.
I think even if you take the numbers aside, which also is kind of interesting too, is that now there's a lot more and more people talking about craft beer, where years ago they weren't. So even if the Census Bureau now it's something for them to track of seeing for statistics and growth and things like that, where years ago that they weren't wasn't even a blip on their radar. I think that's kind of an interesting thing and kind of a nod to craft beer of how not just the popularity but just the strength of the industry is growing.
Yeah, big time. Let's due to the heat, I'm going to call it this our last article, and then we'll get into some closing stuff to see what's going on this week. But our good buddy Alan McCormick over at Growler Fills has a pretty crazy article about a Montana brewery that's changing charity event name after allegedly infringing on an Ninkasi trademark. Shano, what do you got?
Yeah, we always like to wish that if we could write an article and have it be picked up by Beer Pulse and go for potentially a small number of viewers or page hits to a couple thousand. I'm sure if after Alan gets a chance to listen to the this episode, he may be able to tell us how many people actually viewed this article. But the title of the article is called "Ninkasi Brewing Orders Yellowstone Valley to Change Charity Pint Night Name." Not knowing, I guess, I mean, it's probably a difficult thing to even know to find out about it. But on October 1st, 2013, Ninkasi obtained a federal trademark registration for the name Pints for a Cause. So I guess that was the same name that this organization in Yellowstone Valley had their charity event called, but the interesting thing about it is that typically in other Ninkasi trademark infringements, they've got a non-lawyer call, or other organizations have received a non-lawyer call as the initial call. But in this one, it actually was Ninkasi's legal counsel who contacted them on May 23rd. But have no fear. The event's still going to be moving forward, and it will now be known as Pint Aid. I guess until someone else says that they've already trademarked that too.
Yeah, it's true.
Jeez, so what's the trademark named again? Can you just say it out one more time?
Yep, Pints for a Cause.
I think that is so vague. Like, how can you? It's kind of like saying, like, you know, I don't know. Like,
you know, it's trademarked though, Carla. Pink
what?
Pint Night.
What is it?
Pink Pint Night's a trademark.
Okay, but pink is more specific than for a cause.
Yeah. Don't say any of these too many times, otherwise we have to pay for it.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I have no.
For all million listeners or viewers of the show.
Oh man.
Gotta get confused.
Just for a cause is like saying beer dinner for charity. Like.
Oh, I bought that one. That's mine.
Hey, don't you also haven't you also registered beers for Brian?
Brian for beers, beers for peers,
tears for beers,
tears for beers, tears for anyway. Yeah,
tears for beers.
But yeah, so big up to Alan for getting that article. It's over at growlerfills.blogspot.com. Check it and. And then speaking of weird beer event names, and I'll put a link in the show notes because I was looking through Beer Pulse, and I don't know, Oscar Blues has a burning can event, or a burning can.
It's burning can rather than burning.
Which is like it's crazy. It's coming to the East Coast, but that's a cool name because a little play on Burning Man. I hope it's not anything like Burning Man, but it's pretty cool. Let's see. So that's gonna do it for the news. It's a pretty slow beer news week rather. So we're just gonna call it at that, and then we'll put the rest of the links that we were gonna talk about in the show notes. We'll start ladies first. Carla, is there anything going on between now and next show that you want to give a quick YOLO to?
I am not doing anything beer event related this weekend. However, if people don't have 4th of July plans and feel like coming up to Maine, the brewery up in Limerick, Nice Brewing, is having an actual pig roast and beers thing on the 4th of July. So it sounds like a really fun, awesome thing to do up at the farm. I'm going to visit friends, but that's very cool, and I believe they're still selling tickets to that. So if you head over to the Nice Brewing Company, GNEISS, either on Facebook or on the web, you can find out more about that. But there's always beer stuff going on up here, but it's a little bit quiet because of the holiday weekend. Everybody's just drinking their good beer. They're not throwing a whole bunch of events over the next week.
I was a huge fan of your Facebook post about warning people that are drinking AB beers during the Belgian game that they're owned by a Belgian company. I'm like, that was big kick to the shin for them. It's awesome.
And I have one more thing I just forgot to mention.
Today,
or yesterday, actually, it was leaked that there is going to be a craft beer cellar Portland.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Do you know where?
So there's already
Portland.
Lots of opinions on it, and we can talk about it in another episode. But congratulations to them. I'm not sure what the opening dates is. It basically got leaked by Eater, that website that kind of finds out stuff and posts it online. So there hasn't really been a whole lot of official response on it, but there has been already a lot of discussion. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be down in the Old Port on commercial, basically towards the waterfront.
Very interesting.
Yes. So we'll table that for another day, but.
Yeah, oh geez, yeah. Save that for another craft versus crafty discussion. No. Momo, if you know what up this weekend?
Honestly, just hoping that what is it? Tropical Storm Arthur doesn't screw up the fireworks plans on Friday, and looking forward to seeing some friends, family, and just kind of staying local, going to the beach. Wishing everybody a happy 4th. Stay safe.
Red, white, and brew. Oh, wait a second. What's on this week?
Opportunity, but anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say because for those that are watching live, our 1,000 viewers we have usually watching live, the Boston fireworks are changed to tomorrow, so they're Thursday instead of Friday. So weather. Thanks, Arthur Spooner, for ruining that. Sean, sup?
Yeah, I just want to mention that I'll be in the vacation land over the weekend.
Kittery.
Wisconsin, good times.
Yeah, exactly.
State, gorgeous.
But as I know that there are very many fellow untappers out there, I would like to mention that if you do check into a Newcastle beer tomorrow, you will get a special one-day only Newcastle badge.
Is it the most
based
calorie
on
badge?
If we had one promotion, if the Revolutionary War did not happen and Britain was still, and the United States was a colony of Britain still. It's funny videos on ifwewon.com. I recommend checking it out and just having a good laugh.
But they didn't.
There's a really good video by the guy that I think he's one of the creators of The Office, Stephen Merchant.
Oh, Stephen Merchant, big fan.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Also the voice of the Portal guy on Portal and Portal 2.
That's correct. Yes.
How many times can I say Portal before the show's over, guys?
Portal.
Anything else, Sean?
That's it.
Sweet. I got absolutely nothing going on. Last week was all beer related, and I will be out. So for those that care about video games, if you follow me on Twitch, robust_porter, I'm going to be streaming a lot of my video gaming this weekend, along with a beer review on the side, because I'm going to start to try to do a review, like side review videos for YouTube where I play video games and you watch drink a beer. So we will figure that out shortly. So yes, Carla, that is exactly. It'll be a let's play with beer. So I've been getting some ideas from Bert's Better Beers, and I'm gonna try to make it happen, but also be entertaining and not get killed too many times. Other than that, I thought there was a beer fest going on this weekend, but I don't have the information on it, so I'm not gonna talk about it.
There was one in Portsmouth that was canceled.
Of course it was. That's why I didn't bring it up.
Red, White, and Brewfest.
That's why I didn't bring it up, because I didn't even know about it. So for those that are in the area here in Portsmouth, always go check out WIM. They always got stuff going on there. All over quick hits on local news. I saw Bell's Oberon in cans is out there. So if you're out in the Midwest, send some cans over to us. That's happening. Stone's releasing a saison. A lot of stuff going on across the U.S. But again, if you have articles that you want to share, send them over to any one of our Twitter names, or use the hashtag SBL Podcast. Until next week, guys. Carla, Mike. Oh wait, and Norm. I did have a thing. Norm has a book signing at Mystic Brewery in Chelsea, Massachusetts on Saturday. So all the information for that, go to his Norm the Real Beer Nut on Twitter, or Norm the Real Beer Nut on Facebook, the page, and check it out. So I might go down to that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Carla, Mike, Shano, raise a mug or a glass or a bottle, and we will see you guys next week. Cheers to good beer.
Cheers.
We out.